Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Sergi Paniagua. I'm a business developer at Nemi, and today I'm going to walk you through what's been for us to launch a pilot within the HiReach project. So where are we launching our pilot and what challenge are we tackling? We are launching it in the south of Italy, and what I'm showing you now is a map of the region of Puglia, and it's the public body itself that elaborated it. And here you can see depicted in red the main urban cores, which they call poles, and gradually towards the green, the less populated, less dense areas, which they call inner areas and which are less accessible, are further from the main services and have poorer quality transport, public transport services. And specifically in this region, we're going to be launching our bus services in this part that I'm showing you now with an arrow, right at the bottom of the hill, if you can imagine the shape of the country on a map. What are the main stakeholders involved in the launch of this pilot? First of all, the region of Puglia. I already mentioned them. They are the public body that's responsible for funding public transport services in the region. The inner area Sud Salento, and this is an association of municipalities on that inner area, that green area that I was showing you, in our case at the bottom part. And they manage, actually, they approve the launch of demand responsive services in the area. And they decide, or they need to approve important things of the definition of the service, like where the stops are located. Ferrovie del Sud-Est, which is the operator. We are bringing the software solution, but they are the ones putting the vehicle and the driver. So they're an essential piece of this service, this pilot that we're launching. And they're part of the national group, the railway operator of Italy. And they don't only offer train services, they also offer bus services connecting the train stations with the towns around them. And not to forget, of course, the HiReach project, which was of great help throughout the whole launch of the pilot. So let me tell you how the process was. We started by making all the changes in our software tools to adapt them to the Italian market. It's the first time we were launching a service in Italy, so we had to translate all of our software pieces. So the user app, the driver app, and the back office. And here you can see an example of the Italian app that we recently launched. And then on the operator's side, they did an amazing job at creating this web page with all the information about the bus service, the bus chiamata that they call it. And here they explain things like how to download the app, how to register, and how to make a reservation, and other information about the services like the stops and the schedules. And let me go into more detail about each of these services. So like I said, there are two services. We are launching with two vehicles, one serving the TAD1, TAD stands for Transport on Demand in Italian, and another vehicle serving the TAD2 on the most southern part of the region. And the idea with these two services was to connect coastal destinations, so towns or locations along the coast, with the inner towns, the towns more towards the interior, and the train stations. When we started working with the operator in the definition of the services, they had an initial idea of what kind of service they wanted to launch. And it looked like this. So it was a bus line connecting the train station at the top with the train station at the bottom, and along the way, going through all the coastal destinations on the right. But once we had meetings with them and we explained in detail our solution and how we operate our services, and they could really understand the benefits that our solution can bring, then we reworked this initial proposition, which was our starting point, to make the most out of our solution, to bring all the benefits that it can bring. And the result looks like this. For the first service, the TAD1, it's a service composed of 34 stops, that's connecting 9 destinations, including the inner towns, different inner towns with the coastal destinations, where the longest possible route is 53 kilometers and where we can offer a frequency of 1 hour and 45 minutes, which in another context wouldn't be a great value, but there's only so much you can do with one vehicle serving such a big area. It's the most we could do with this kind of line. And you might be thinking now, what is this thing I'm looking at? What are those red lines on the map? So let me explain. These red lines are all the possible itineraries that the bus can perform between stops. And we draw all these possibilities. You see there's not a clear itinerary looking at the map like this, so that when some stops are not requested, the bus just keeps those segments of the itinerary. So the idea is that if no users have requested the stops at the bottom, the bus will go through these ones that have been requested and then turn around and go back to the starting point. That's how we optimize the expeditions, the trips. And for the second service, the process was the same. We had an initial proposition and we ended up with a service that includes 38 stops, connects 15 destinations, and where the longest possible route is 71 kilometers, so even longer. And because of this, a bit of a lower frequency, 2 hours and 15 minutes. So what benefits are we bringing to the user with this solution? Well, first, we're offering more connections because these are areas with less demand because they're less populated, less demand for mobility. We are able to offer more stops, and that way we're connecting the inner towns with the train station, and at the same time the inner towns between them and with the coastal destinations. We also offer shorter travel times because of this optimization of the route that I was telling you about. And most importantly, we are giving them a permanent mobility service. And I say this because the idea for the operator before they got engaged in this project was to launch a summer service. And that's why their initial proposition was only connecting the coastal destinations, because that's where most of the demand is located. And so that was where it was most profitable. But the idea is that after this pilot, if the pilot is successful, and if this becomes a public bus service, the idea is that these stops that we located in the inner towns stay there. So we're offering always permanently this possibility to the citizens to always request the bus. And for the operator, they benefit through the fact that they travel less kilometers because of the optimized routes. And in this case, it's because they don't own the buses. They pay a rental, they pay for a rental, and it's based on the kilometers that they travel with the buses. They have fuel savings, and they also have lower maintenance. Unfortunately, I cannot show you results of the pilot, like some data that has been collected, because it hasn't started yet. It started actually just yesterday in the afternoon. But if you are interested in knowing how it goes, it will be a pilot that will last for a whole month. So if you're interested in knowing how it goes, don't hesitate to contact me on my email address or call me by phone. I hope you found this interesting, and thank you for your attention.